Hello, my name is Chris Edmands. I'm the owner and principal resoler here at Greater Tahoe Grip Works. We specialize in the repair of La Sportiva footwear only. Grip Works is North America's first and only exclusive La Sportiva brand resoler. First off, I believe La Sportiva cares deeply about designing and building shoes that not only perform incredibly well, but can also be repaired, oftentimes more than once, all while maintaining high performance characteristics. This means that the design team at Sportiva has made every consideration for how the shoes should be torn down and rebuilt without damaging key structural components. Sportiva's authorized resoler and cobbler program makes original spare parts and proprietary tools from the Italian factory available to approved resolers worldwide, enabling repair facilities to perform factory-like repairs, ensuring the best possible fit, performance, and look of the finished product, all while minimizing waste and reducing their carbon footprint. All right, today we're going to talk about a few different things. Why resole, resole timing, the basics of resoling, and shoe care. So there's just about a handful of reasons you might decide to resole. One of them is cost. It's way cheaper to resole a pair of shoes than it is to buy new. Second reason is environmental. Reduce your impact on landfills. A third reason you might want to resole is fit. Breaking in a brand new pair of shoes can be really uncomfortable and painful. And the fourth reason you might want to resole is customization. When's the appropriate time to resole? For some people, it's going to be really difficult to inspect and tell when the appropriate time to resole is. Like, take this shoe. This is a Theory. It's a hybrid edged and no edge shoe. The edge, the 90-degree edge that comes from the factory, is long since gone, and the sole has actually receded about 1/4 of an inch back from the tip of the toe. I'll draw that out with a marker just so you can see it. Now, this Theory might look totally fine. To the untrained eye, the rand rubber and the sole rubber look to be about the same color. It's going to be really hard for people to inspect and tell when the appropriate time to resole is. I'm going to draw where the sole now lives on this shoe and where the sole rand join line was originally when the shoe was new. Check that out. This climber has been edging on their rand rubber for a really long time but didn't know it. So it's more than likely that we're going to have to replace the rand on this. It looks totally fine. You don't see any holes, but guaranteed it's going to be a little bit too thin to be able to resole without replacing the rand. So here I have a brand new shoe, been climbed in once, never been resoled. If you look closely, you can see this line that delineates the upper rubber, which is referred to as the rand, from the sole rubber. This line right here is the join line, where the sole joins up with the rand. As you're climbing, the sole's gonna wear out until you approach the join line. That's what the rand and the sole look like when a shoe is new. This is what it looks like when a shoe is worn too far. I'm gonna draw the join as it is now. Now I'm gonna draw where the join line was when the shoe was new, and it's up there. So this upper line indicates where the sole came up to when the shoe was new. The line below it indicates how far the sole has receded. The rubber in between is rand rubber. It pretty much looks the same color, same texture as the sole rubber, but it's actually rand rubber. So that means every time you climb and you stand up on edge, at this point, you're impacting the rand, and that leads to more costly repairs. But if you continue to climb to the point where you lose that join line, this is what's gonna happen. It's bad, it's costly. This shoe actually shouldn't be repaired because it's cost prohibitive. If you wanna save your shoes, it's really important that you stop climbing at the appropriate time. So right here is a squama exhibiting perfect resole timing. If you look here, you can see the join line again. This sole is actually a little bit darker black than the rand rubber, so it shows up really well. You can see there's no longer an edge. The sole rubber used to have a really sharp 90-degree edge right there. Now it's worn so much it's totally rounded, but you can still see the factory join line. If this customer were to continue climbing in this shoe, then they would pay pay extra to have the rand replaced. Right now, this is perfect resole timing. The same sort of timing works for all types of footwear as well. Here's an approach shoe, a TX2 Evo leather, and here is a Nepal Cube GTX. Both of these were caught right before the need for a rand. The sole is worn so thin that there's nothing left at the toes, but it hasn't been worn away, impacting the rand rubber. That is the perfect timing to resole your approach shoe without more costly repairs. Onto the Nepal. Pretty much same deal. This is a really expensive boot. You want to be super careful with these about not taking these too far. So this boot in particular, right there, this lighter black is the midsole. The darker black right there, that's less than 1/2 millimeter thick right there, that's the sole rubber. This gray that you see, that's the crampon attachment point. A lot of tree climbers or linemen, anyone that uses boots like this for work, tend to wear the boots so much that they destroy these crampon attachment points. If you take them too far, you have to replace not only the sole and midsole, but the crampon attachment points too. And now you're looking at pretty costly repairs. So again, this is the perfect time to resole. You don't want to take a $600 boot any farther than this. So right here, this is the tip of a TC Pro. You can see over here, the sole looks really fat, but right at the tip, we're looking at less than 1 millimeter of rubber left. And these shoes started with a 4 millimeter thick sole. You climb a few days or a week longer, and that sole starts to recede from the rand sole join line, then you're gonna impact the toes or the rand rubber, and that's gonna be a more costly repair. To a lot of people, this looked totally fine. Like you can do another week in J-Tree without damaging your shoes, but you got to be really careful because this, if you're just replacing the sole, this is a $40 to $60 repair cost as is, depending on who you send your shoes to. If you get into the rand, then you're looking at another $10 to $15 per toe cap replacement. So this could either be a $40 repair or it could be a $90 repair. It all depends. Okay, next shoe up is a Futura. This here is a Futura from La Sportiva. It is a no-edge shoe. Half sole design. The sole begins at the start of the arch, goes up, and extends well beyond the first metatarsal of the big toe. Story behind the no-edge technology is that the sole is a little bit thinner. You have no clearly defined 90-degree edge like you do with a lot of the other standard edge shoes like the Katana Lace, the Miura VS, the Finale, the Kubo, even the Squama. The sole, when new, is just rounded like this. And the idea behind it is to get more precise edging because it brings the tip of your toe closer to the climbing wall. On the Futura, on this particular shoe right here, the colored P3 system is actually part of the slingshot rand that wraps the heel and extends all the way to the tip of the shoe. You can see a little bit of white there. This particular shoe has been worn through the sole rubber, exposing the P3 system, which is sort of a really cool and perfect early warning system for this shoe. Once this happens, you should stop climbing. Otherwise, you're gonna damage the P3, and then if you go beyond that, you're gonna damage the rand rubber beneath it, and then you're gonna have more expensive repairs. So this shoe, it's a little bit easier to see. This is the sole rand join line like I talked about with the other shoes. Once you start to wear it away, it becomes really evident. This one has started to tear a little bit, chip, and actually is peeling away. On this one here, you can see that there's two parts of the sole right there that actually started to wear away. This is either from scumming or dragging toes as you go up the wall. Right here, there's also a little bit that started to peel. Anyway, this is perfect resole timing on a no-edge shoe. Once you get a hole in the climbing rubber sole, stop climbing. Here's an example of a TC Pro that needs rand repair. Although to the naked eye, it looks totally fine. There's no holes clean through the rubber that would indicate that you've blown a hole. There's no splits, there's no pinholes, but the rubber is thin. And if you look really close, you might be able to see a little indentation right in there. Can you see that? So there's that indentation I'm talking about. You might not be able to see that. You might not know you need a toe cap, but I can tell that that rubber right there is less than 1/2 millimeter thick. I could put a new sole on on here, but then you'll be left with a new sole and you'll quickly wear a hole in the tip of that shoe. So the toe cap has to be replaced on this shoe. You can actually, if you look close enough in the right lighting, you'll see the indentation, then you'll see all these little pock marks, like the surface of the moon. That's what the toe looks like. And that's an indication that so much material has worn away that it's about to pop a hole. So this poor customer thinks they're getting their shoes resoled and they just need a basic half sole, but what they need are toe caps as well as the half sole. If they stop climbing in their shoes earlier, no need for a toe cap. People just have to learn how to remember where the line was when they were new and where they are now. And basically you just have to inspect your shoes way more often than you think you should.